Hello and welcome to Moneylife. This is Sucheta Dalal. This week, we're going to talk about the Ketan Parekh order, which was issued by SEBI start of the new year on 2nd Jan. It's a fascinating read. Front-running, dabba trading, use of angadias to carry huge amounts of cash, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs, and the central figure, Ketan Parekh. Yes, all over again. Crony of Harshad Mehta in 92, graduated to being the central figure of the 2001 scam, leading to a second joint parliamentary committee investigating the securities market in less than 10 years. Believe me, it's a record. And he's still in the market. Nothing changes. In fact, SEBI has actually caught him, issued an interim ex parte order, a show cause notice. It's all continuing. But it is a fascinating read, especially the manner in which SEBI finally went around getting after Ketan Parekh. So, action is against Ketan Parekh and 21 associates. SEBI's meticulous investigation exposed a sophisticated operation orchestrated by Ketan Parekh with these 21 people across the country and, of course, a Singapore national. And it painstakingly built a case where first it got hold of a number that Ketan was using, belonged to his wife, traced multiple phones that he used, code names and aliases that were used on all these phones and these 21 associates to refer to him. SEBI then linked this network of associates to the trades that he was doing in the market and revealed how inside or advance information was used to make illicit profits. All this is wonderful, but the investigation raises several questions about our regulatory system. In fact, more questions than it answers. The bigger story, to my mind, is the impunity that is enjoyed by manipulators like Ketan Parekh, who was behind the 92 scam and the 2001 scam, to continue doing exactly what they were doing at that time, despite regulatory and judicial actions over 3 decades. Question is, do our systems even work? Is there any deterrence at all? I mean, think for yourself. Scamsters like Ketan Parekh, and I'm going to call him KP, are able to blend modern online banking today, modern trading systems, which happen in nanoseconds, with illegal old-style dabba trading. Now, what is dabba trading? It's cash deals that are settled on the basis of official prices. So it's an entire cash market, which takes its cues from trading in the official market. So people trade both places. So they have these illegal trades that are settled entirely in cash. And in this case, SEBI discovered angadias are Gujarat-based couriers, very bold people that are used normally to carry currency, diamonds, gold, and jewelry across cities. So they carry large amounts of cash. If you Google, there are many stories on angadias and how they quietly manage to use regular public transport, trains, and buses to deliver enormous sums of money and jewelry and diamonds. Now, isn't it fascinating that know your customer rules, which harass ordinary people, lead to their bank accounts being frozen, makes it difficult for you to get a phone, are so effortlessly sidestepped by fraudsters and operators. Now, despite SEBI's findings on the angadias, there are checks. You can see this image. There is a system where a currency note is the tool of recognition. So you show the currency note and the numbers, and then the angadia hands over whatever he's bought for you. And these are exchanged on WhatsApp. SEBI has traced those. But from 2nd Jan, today we are on 8th of Jan, there's no move by the finance ministry or any government agencies to wake up, not even the tax authorities, enforcement, CBI. Nobody has wanted to jump up and say, hey, what's going on? We need to join this investigation and look at angles that are under our jurisdiction. Now, for those of you who have not taken the trouble to read the 188-page SEBI order, here's a quick synopsis of what SEBI found. So SEBI uncovered a scheme where Ketan Parekh, with multiple phones and pseudonyms, colluded with a Singapore national called Rohit Salgaonkar. Now, Rohit Salgaonkar had an arrangement with what SEBI calls a big client, which is a US-based foreign portfolio investor, which had a lot of funds under it. So the big client is really big, accounts for probably billions and billions of dollars with multiple funds. Each time this big client wanted to trade, it asked Salgaonkar, who should we trade with? And Salgaonkar recommended two names, Motilal Oswal Financial Services and Nuama Wealth Management, which was formerly Edelweiss, which in turn had links with this cabal of Ketan Parekh's, the associates. With advance information of what is going to be bought or sold by this big client, they came up with trading strategies dictated by Ketan Parekh, directed by him across the country to make illegal money. Everything is advance information, so it's called front running. Front running what a fund is going to do. Now, SEBI traced the mobile numbers to KP when he appeared for an investigation on behalf of NH Securities. This is again a company that exists from the 90s. Narberam Harakchand Securities, which is his family firm, has been caught up in past scams. SEBI continues to investigate. Yes, ironical. And he goes there, he's carrying his wife's mobile number, gives his Aadhaar number and home address. SEBI uses that as a base, then tracks through maybe, mobile towers, the number of phones at that exact geographical location, and comes up with a bunch of numbers and EI numbers. Then it tracks all those phones, which seem to move along with Ketan Parekh wherever he goes, to establish that they belong to him and him alone. So they traced him to hotels, five-star hotels in Jaipur, Agra, Gwalior, where he had gone with his wife. The hotels confirmed that he and his wife checked in on those precise dates when the phones were located over there, and that he had submitted his Aadhaar card as proof. Now, it then got the phones and the WhatsApp chats and further corroborated that when many phones and many of these associates referred to someone called Jack or Boss or Jack Latest or exchange birthday greetings and inside information with this anonymous person, it was in fact Ketan Parekh. The investigation exposed a nationwide network of frontrunners executing trades, transferring payments, cash transactions through the Angadia network, and SEBI's interim order calculated unlawful loss through a series of complicated trading maneuvers at 65.77 crore. And it has ordered that these 22 entities will jointly and severally cough up this money as part of disgorgement, and it has barred key individuals from accessing the market. You ask me, it's too little, just too small. All this doesn't happen, this drama doesn't happen for a small profit of 65.77 crore. It's a joke. Okay. So this may just be the tip of the iceberg. And in fact, it raises many questions. First, KP has continued to operate with complete impunity during and after SEBI's 14-year ban on him. So hopefully this disgorgement is a starting point. Yes, SEBI has made it clear this is an interim ex parte order and the investigation is continuing. But at what pace? Before that, I have received an email from a whistleblower who says a big client that SEBI refers to is the Capital Group, a Los Angeles-based company. And they say that they're definitely not the only one. There are several large foreign portfolio investors who regularly colluded with KP and Salgaonkar. In fact, that sounds more plausible, and that they were all fully aware of what is going on. In fact, it's really hard to believe that the big clients officials who ought to be really clued in were clueless about Salgaonkar's links to Ketan Parekh and never asked any questions over the years. So clearly, unless the regulator expands the scope of the investigation, which began in 2021, and accelerates the pace and gets more help, by the time it's complete, it will be completely irrelevant. You need speed, you need more action. Third point, the discovery of large cash transactions through Angadias. What does this show? It shows that there's a flourishing dabba trading system, which is entirely out of SEBI's regulated market, which is already very huge. In fact, the official market makes India one of the top 5 markets in the world. In derivatives trading, the third. And there is another huge dabba trading, completely illegal market that runs entirely on cash and settle trades based on official prices. Market sources say many fund managers, all these giving lectures regularly on television, many with powerful political connections are active dabba traders, and they have been sending me emails linking them to some other SEBI orders as well. But SEBI's investigations tend to ignore all this. In fact, this is the first time that SEBI has referred to dabba traders and angadias and cash. Now we need to move forward on this official recognition. In fact, stringent compliances that are imposed by SEBI every day, new circulars, higher costs, taxes, and what have you, they encourage the dabba trading to flourish because some people deal in cash, prefer to be outside, link it to the active market, and they are at home because large amounts of cash continue to be exchanged, as can be shown. We see this every time there are elections. So politicians use this, and you can see who would want this cash market to continue and dabba trading to continue. So the regulator acts blinkered and doesn't look there, but it has opened that door for the first time. So what we need now is a multi-agency probe with appropriate legal powers to uncover the full extent of what was going on. So why do I keep harping on this multi-agency investigation? Because in 1992, after the securities scam, there was a Janki Raman committee set up under a deputy governor of the Reserve Bank of India. It produced 6 detailed reports on what was happening in the entire banking system. I have given you a link here. It led to a comprehensive cleanup of the banking system and the capital market, especially the Reserve Bank of India's gilt-edged securities market. And in SEBI itself got its regulatory teeth after that investigation. To my mind, it is because the committee included a representative of the Income Tax Department and the CBI that it had a dispassionate, transparent report and nothing was hidden under the carpet. In fact, this report formed the basis of the JPC that was set up in 92. In 2001, there was another JPC set up after the Ketan Parekh scam. It came up with a completely wishy-washy report, let off all corporate houses, and actually says in the report that, well, we didn't have access to a Janki Raman type investigation. Isn't it time to set up that investigation without waiting for a JPC that is actually being demanded even in the context of Madhvipuri Bhuj? Maybe the government needs to wake up because the Ketan Parekh scam and the front running has raised plenty of embarrassing questions, and there is a need for action. In fact, the finance ministry needs to do this, needs to establish an investigation which should have SEBI, should have RBI, this time have cybercrime experts, people who understand technology, enforcement officials from multiple agencies. Only then will nobody hide things. Of course, they all collude, it's a different matter, but you will get something that makes sense. This committee should address cash trades, the dabba market, collusion and front running, the role of FPIs and their fund managers, why money laundering rules, which harass ordinary people, fail to act as any kind of deterrent to all kinds of cyber criminals. Remember the digital arrests that we've talked about? Nothing deters them. They only harass ordinary people. Now, it also needs to put an end to this scam playlist, which is in a loop. Same scamsters doing the same thing over and over again is a national embarrassment. And we have seen them doing this recycling or playing in a loop, the same scam, only enabled by technology over 30 years, really long time, no scope for a blame game. Every party has been involved in letting the state of affairs continue. Regulators are always in a race to stay ahead of scamsters. Scamsters are clever guys who find new ways to exploit regulatory weaknesses and loopholes. That's taken for granted, happens all over the world. But in well-regulated countries, every new scam is different from the previous one because they plug those loopholes permanently. So scamsters and fraudsters have to find a new way of breaking the system or new loopholes. Not in India. The same thing continues. They do the same thing over and over again. It's there in reports. They flout SEBI orders. The regulators are not embarrassed. They have a slap on the wrist, and that's the end of it. In fact, like I said, KP was part of the Harshit Mehta cabal in 92. He was a central figure in scam 2001. SEBI itself calls him a habitual offender. It's part of this order. His history is narrated over here. In fact, in para 201, it says that KP was barred from the capital market in 2003 for 14 years. We all know that. 14-year vanvas for him, during which he continued to trade. SEBI itself caught him trading through a company called Gibbs Computers. What did it do? On 26 June 2013, it slapped him on the wrist with a 1 crore penalty. Neither here nor there. What does this say about SEBI's understanding of its role as a regulator and the need for deterrence if this central figure of 2001, whose antics and activities caused huge losses and led to a JPC, it's just given a 1 crore little adjudication and let off? No wonder he's back again, and SEBI is investigating again, using time and resources. I myself have documented how KP continued to operate in the market in 2007. I've written pieces in the Indian Express. I have a link here. But what is interesting is that he's not alone. In 2014, a CBI court convicted him and sentenced him to 2 years rigorous imprisonment. Again, fairly weak penalty. He was out and entered the market again. Same set of people who were his past associates. One of them is Ashok Kumar Poddar of Kolkata. He was a key associate in 2001 and in the misappropriation of shares at the Calcutta Stock Exchange, 120 crore, and he's again part of KP's network. His role was also extensively documented by the JPC. Dinesh Dalmia was part of that, another notorious founder of the DSQ group whose shares were ramped up by Ketan Parekh. He even embarrassed the National Securities Depository Limited and its former chairman, C.V. Bhave. He's back to his old ways, has duped banks and lenders of 200 crore. All he had to do is beat KYC by changing his name slightly from Dinesh Dalmia to Dinesh Kumar, and banks are lending him hundreds of crores of rupees and giving him all kinds of benefits. I've written about this fairly recently, about how serial fraudster Dinesh Dalmia strikes again. Is he involved in the capital market as well? We don't know. So far, we know that he tried to cheat someone out of his house and he had to be evacuated, and the dairy business where big banks, including HDFC, have lost money. Can this go on? If India aspires to be a global superpower, it requires credible regulatory and judicial systems. The responsibility to ensure that we have these systems rests squarely on the nation's executive leadership. In fact, the buck stops right at the top, and this is the time to wake up. If you agree, do share this video and make your views heard. Thank you.